There is a common weed growing in backyards across the country right now that researchers say could be more effective for joint health than many over-the-counter anti-inflammatories. For generations, we've been pulling it out of the garden and tossing it away, unaware that its roots and leaves contain the exact minerals our bodies need to repair connective tissue. But before I reveal what that plant is, you need to understand something vital about the way we age. Many of us have been told that stiff joints and thinning cartilage are just an inevitable part of getting older, a slow, irreversible wear and tear. But modern science is beginning to find that the human body is much more resilient than we've been led to believe, provided it has the right ancient building blocks. Stick around, because number 14 on our list is a tropical vine that acts like a biological reset button for inflammation, and it's something clinical researchers are only just beginning to fully appreciate. For those of us over the age of 50 or 60, the conversation around health often shifts toward management rather than thriving. We talk about managing the pain, managing the stiffness, or managing the decline. We feel it when we get out of bed in the morning, that clicking in the knees, the tightness in the lower back, or the ache in the fingers when the weather changes. This isn't just a matter of getting old. Often it's a sign that the delicate environment within our joints has become imbalanced. Our cartilage, that smooth, glistening tissue that cushions our bones, requires specific nutrients to maintain its elasticity and thickness. When we lack these, or when systemic inflammation becomes a constant background noise in our bodies, the cartilage begins to degrade faster than the body can rebuild it. Our ancestors didn't have access to modern pharmacies, yet they maintained remarkable physical mobility well into their later years. They relied on a deep foundational knowledge of the natural world, foods and herbs that didn't just mask pain, but provided the structural components the body needed to heal itself. They understood that the earth provides a pharmacy of its own, filled with compounds that can dampen the fires of inflammation and stimulate the production of collagen and synovial fluid. Today, we're going to rediscover 20 of these ancient powerhouses, bridging the gap between traditional wisdom and modern nutritional science. And that brings us to the first one on our list, and it might be the most vibrant and powerful of them all. Number 1 is turmeric. You likely recognize this as the bright golden-orange root that gives curry its distinctive color. In the ancient Indian system of Ayurveda, turmeric has been revered for over 4,000 years, not just as a spice, but as a holy powder for healing. Historically, it was used to treat everything from skin conditions to digestive distress, but its most profound application was for vata disorders, which included joint stiffness and bone health. Modern science has isolated the primary compound responsible for these effects, curcumin. Curcumin is a powerhouse because it targets multiple pathways of inflammation at once. Specifically, it inhibits the activity of enzymes like COX-2, the same target that many common pain relievers aim for. But unlike synthetic options, turmeric works in harmony with the body's digestive system. When you see that bright golden dust, remember that it's more than a flavor. It's a biological shield. To get the most out of it, always pair it with a pinch of black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. It's a simple trick that turns a culinary ingredient into a potent joint rebuilding tool. Now, while turmeric works on the inflammation, our next item focuses on the actual bricks and mortar of your joints.
Number 2 is bone broth. Long before we had collagen powders and plastic tubs, our ancestors practiced nose-to-tail eating. They would simmer the bones and connective tissues of animals for hours, sometimes days, over a low fire. This slow extraction process releases a treasure trove of nutrients: glucosamine, chondroitin, and type 2 collagen. These are the exact substances that make up your own cartilage. Think of bone broth as a liquid gold that coats your internal structures. As we age, our body's natural production of collagen begins to drop off significantly. By sipping a warm, savory mug of bone broth, you're providing your joints with the raw materials they need to stay supple. It's rich in glycine, an amino acid that not only supports joint repair, but also helps improve sleep and gut health. There's a reason every traditional culture has a version of healing soup. It's the ultimate comfort food for your cells. But this next one might surprise you, as it's often associated more with ancient incense than with health. Number 3 is boswellia, also known as Indian frankincense. For centuries, the resin from the boswellia tree was traded along the Silk Road, prized for its aromatic properties and its ability to treat chronic inflammatory conditions. In traditional medicine, It was the go-to remedy for stagnant pain. What makes boswellia so special to modern researchers is its ability to inhibit the 5-LOX enzyme. This is a very specific pathway of inflammation that most other herbs don't touch. By blocking this enzyme, boswellia helps prevent the breakdown of cartilage tissue. Imagine it as a security guard that stands at the gate of your joints, preventing destructive molecules from entering. Many people over 60 find that boswellia provides a level of relief for knee stiffness that they haven't felt in years. It has a slightly woody, earthy scent and is typically taken as a concentrated resin extract. Now, if you think that was impressive, wait until you hear about number 4, a root that has been a staple in Chinese medicine for 5 millennia. Number 4 is ginger. In ancient China, ginger was so highly valued that it was often used as a form of currency. It was the universal medicine, used to warm the body and improve circulation. When it comes to your joints, circulation is everything. Because cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply, it relies on the movement of fluid to get nutrients in and waste out. Ginger contains gingerols and shogols, compounds that have been shown to reduce the production of nitric oxide, a molecule that triggers joint inflammation. When you grate fresh ginger into a tea, you'll notice that sharp, spicy aroma and the slight heat it produces in your throat. That heat is a sign of its potency. It's stimulating blood flow to the extremities, ensuring that those joint-building nutrients from your bone broth actually reach the places they're needed most. We're just getting started, and number 5 takes us from the spice rack to the rose garden. Number 5 is rose hips. These are the round, red fruits that appear on rose bushes after the petals have fallen. In European folk medicine, rose hips were the primary source of vitamin C during long winters. But it's not just the vitamin C that helps your joints. Rose hips contain a specific galactolipid called GOPO. Clinical trials have shown that GOPO can actually discourage white blood cells from accumulating in the joints, which is a major driver of the swelling and pain associated with stiffness. It's a gentle but effective way to keep the joints quiet and calm. You can find rose hip tea in almost any grocery store or use a concentrated powder. It has a tart, slightly floral flavor that's quite refreshing. And here's a tip. It's one of the few plant sources that actually helps protect the slick surface of the cartilage. But let's move from the garden to the tropical rainforest for number 6.
Number 6 is pineapple, specifically the core of the pineapple. Most people throw the tough center away, but that's where the highest concentration of bromelain is found. Bromelain is a protein-digesting enzyme that was first isolated in the late 1800s, but has been used by indigenous peoples in Central and South America for centuries to treat inflammation. Bromelain is unique because it helps the body break down the fibrin complexes that can build up around injured joints, which often contribute to that feeling of being locked up. If you've ever eaten fresh pineapple and felt a slight tingle on your tongue, that's the bromelain at work. For joint health, it's often best to eat the fruit fresh or juice the core, as heat from canning destroys these delicate enzymes. It's a sweet way to fight back against stiffness. Now, remember that weed I mentioned at the very beginning? We've reached number 7. Number 7 is stinging nettle. Yes, the same plant that causes a temporary rash if you brush against it in the woods. Roman soldiers used to purposefully flog their aching joints with fresh nettles to stimulate circulation and dull chronic pain, a practice called urtification. While I don't suggest you do that, drinking nettle leaf tea or taking a nettle extract is one of the best things you can do for your skeletal system. Nettles are incredibly high in biological silica and boron. Silica is a trace mineral that acts like the glue that holds collagen together. Without enough silica, your bones become brittle and your cartilage loses its bounce. Nettles are also a natural diuretic, which helps flush out the metabolic waste products that can crystallize in the joints and cause gritty pain. It has a deep, green, earthy taste, almost like a more robust spinach. It's one of nature's most complete mineral supplements, and it's likely growing just a few feet from your back door. This next one takes us to the orchards of the American Midwest. Number 8 is tart cherries. While sweet cherries are a lovely treat, it's the sour Montmorency tart cherries that hold the medicinal power. For decades, people with joint issues have sworn by cherry juice, and finally the science caught up. Tart cherries are packed with anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep red color. These compounds are incredibly effective at lowering levels of uric acid in the blood. When uric acid builds up, it can form tiny needle-like crystals in the joints, leading to intense stiffness and flare-ups. Drinking a small glass of tart cherry juice before bed not only supports your joints, but also provides a natural source of melatonin to help you sleep through the night. It's a double win for recovery. And speaking of recovery, let's look at a root from the Kalahari Desert for number 9. Number 9 is devil's claw. The name sounds intimidating, but it comes from the appearance of the plant's hooked fruit. The indigenous sand people of South America have used the tubers of this plant for generations to treat the aches of the elders. The active compounds in devil's claw are called iridoid glycosides, specifically harpagicide. Research suggests that these compounds can be as effective as certain pharmaceutical options for lower back and knee pain, but with a much higher safety profile for the stomach. It works by quieting the inflammatory messengers in the body. If you feel like your movement is restricted by a dull, constant ache, devil's claw is one of the most respected traditional remedies in the world for restoring that range of motion. But this next herb has been hiding in plain sight for centuries, often called the miracle tree.
Number 10 is moringa. Native to parts of Africa and Asia, the moringa tree is so nutrient-dense that it's often used to combat malnutrition in developing countries. For someone over 60, moringa is like a multivitamin for your joints. Its leaves contain more vitamin A than carrots, more calcium than milk, and more potassium than bananas. But for cartilage, the real magic lies in its isothiocyanates. These are anti-inflammatory compounds that specifically protect the chondrocytes, the cells responsible for maintaining your cartilage. When these cells are healthy, they can continue to repair the shocks in your joints. Moringa powder has a mild, peppery taste, similar to matcha, and can be easily stirred into a morning smoothie or soup. We're halfway through our list, and number 11 brings us to the pristine waters of New Zealand. Number 11 is the green-lipped mussel. This isn't just a delicacy, it's a powerhouse of joint nutrition. Scientists noticed that the coastal Maori people of New Zealand had significantly fewer joint issues than those living inland. The difference? Their diet was rich in these unique mussels. Green-lipped mussels contain a rare combination of omega-3 fatty acids and complex carbohydrates called glycosaminoglycans. These act as a natural lubricant for your joints, helping to restore the viscosity of the synovial fluid that keeps your bones from rubbing together. It's like an oil change for your knees. While you can find them in some specialty markets, most people take them as a concentrated lipid extract. It's one of the few sources of ETA, or eicosapentaenoic tetraenoic acid, which is even more potent than the EPA found in standard fish oil. Now, if you're looking for something that addresses the stress joint connection, look no further than number 12. Number 12 is ashwagandha. This is the premier adaptogen of Ayurvedic medicine. While we often think of joint pain as a physical issue, chronic stress causes the body to release cortisol, which is a catabolic hormone. This means it actually breaks down tissues, including muscle and cartilage, over time. Ashwagandha helps the body manage stress, but it also contains withanolides, which have been shown in studies to reduce the markers of inflammation in the joints. It's traditionally called the smell of a horse, not because of its scent, but because it was said to give the user the strength and stamina of a stallion. For a 60-year-old looking to stay active, ashwagandha provides that foundational resilience. But let's get back to the kitchen for number 13, an item you likely use every single day. Number 13 is garlic. In ancient Egypt, garlic was given to the pyramid builders to keep them strong and free from infection. But for your joints, the secret is the sulfur. Cartilage is highly dependent on sulfur to form its structure and maintain its strength. In fact, the cross-links that make your connective tissue tough are made of sulfur bonds. Garlic contains a compound called diallo-disulfide, which has been shown to limit the expression of enzymes that damage cartilage. When you crush or chop garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking, you activate the allicin and these sulfur compounds. It's a simple, pungent way to ensure your cartilage stays structurally sound. Plus, it's great for your heart health, which ensures good blood flow to your entire body. And here's where things get really interesting. Number 14 is the one I teased at the beginning. Number 14 is cat's claw, or Uncaria tomentosa. This woody vine grows in the Amazon rainforest and gets its name from the small thorns that look like a cat's talons. For at least 2,000 years, the Ashaninka people of Peru have used it for bone pain and deep aches. Modern science has found that cat's claw contains pentacyclic oxindole alkaloids. These compounds are master regulators of the immune system. In many cases of joint stiffness, the immune system is overactive, attacking the joint lining. Cat's claw helps retrain the immune system to stop the attack, while also significantly reducing the production of TNF-alpha, a major inflammatory protein. It's so powerful that researchers are now looking at it as a primary support for those with more severe, long-term joint concerns. It's often taken as a tea made from the bark, which has a pleasant, slightly bitter, woody flavor. But the next one on our list has a compound so powerful that pharmaceutical companies have been trying to synthesize it for decades. Number 15 is pomegranate. In ancient Middle Eastern cultures, the pomegranate was a symbol of fertility and eternal life. We now know that the deep red arils inside are packed with elagitannins. What's fascinating about pomegranate is its effect on matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs. These are enzymes that the body produces to clear out old tissue, but as we age, they can become overactive and start eating healthy cartilage.
Research has shown that pomegranate extract can specifically block these enzymes, effectively putting a shield over your cartilage to prevent it from thinning. It's one of the few foods that works on the prevention side of the equation so effectively. Whether you eat the seeds or drink the pure juice, you're providing your joints with a potent anti-aging tonic. And speaking of liquid gold, number 16 is a staple of the Mediterranean. Number 16 is extra virgin olive oil, but not just any olive oil. It needs to be the high-quality, peppery kind. Have you ever swallowed a spoonful of good olive oil and felt a little scratch or sting in the back of your throat? That's a compound called oleocanthal. In a landmark study published in the journal Nature, researchers found that oleocanthal mimics the exact anti-inflammatory action of ibuprofen, but in a natural food-based form. It inhibits the same pathways that lead to pain and swelling. The Mediterranean diet is famous for longevity, but for people over 60, the daily use of olive oil is likely one of the reasons they stay so mobile. It lubricates the body from the inside out, providing healthy fats that the body uses to build cell membranes. Now, we can't talk about healthy fats without mentioning number 17. Number 17 is walnuts. In the ancient doctrine of signatures, it was noted that walnuts look remarkably like the human brain, and indeed, they are great for cognitive health. But they are also the only nut with a significant amount of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3. Omega-3s are essential for cooling the inflammation in the joints. Walnuts also contain high levels of copper, a trace mineral that is required for the production of lysyl oxidase, an enzyme that knits collagen and elastin together. Just a handful of walnuts a day can provide the structural support your body needs to keep its scaffolding strong. They have a rich, earthy, and slightly tannic flavor that pairs perfectly with our next item. Number 18 might be something you've only ever seen in a stir-fry. Number 18 is bamboo shoots. In many Asian cultures, bamboo is a symbol of strength and flexibility. It can bend in a storm without breaking. This is exactly what we want for our joints. Bamboo shoots are the world's richest source of natural silica, containing even more than our friend the stinging nettle.
As I mentioned before, silica is the secret ingredient for cartilage. It helps the body utilize calcium for bones and ensures that the collagen fibers in your joints are organized and strong. If you've ever felt like your joints are loose or unstable, silica-rich foods like bamboo shoots can help provide that missing structural integrity. They have a wonderful, crunchy texture and take on the flavors of whatever you cook them with. This brings us to number 19, a small but mighty fish. Number 19 is sardines. While many people shy away from them, sardines are one of the most perfect foods for anyone over 60. Because they are small and at the bottom of the food chain, they don't accumulate the toxins that larger fish do. When you eat sardines, you're usually eating the tiny soft bones as well. This provides a bioavailable source of calcium and phosphorus, but more importantly, sardines are loaded with vitamin D and omega-3s. Vitamin D is crucial because it helps the body absorb the minerals needed for bone density, which supports the joints from the bottom up. Without strong bones, the cartilage has a shaky foundation. Think of sardines as a complete joint support package in a very small ancient tin. And finally, number 20, the pure essence of the animal. Number 20 is gelatin. This is essentially cooked collagen. In the Victorian era, aspics and jellies were common at the dinner table. Today, we mostly see gelatin in sugary desserts, but pure, unflavored gelatin is a nutritional powerhouse. It is made up of the amino acids proline and glycine, which are the primary building blocks of cartilage. When you consume gelatin, you're giving your body a shortcut to cartilage repair. Some studies suggest that taking gelatin before a period of movement or exercise can actually increase the amount of collagen your body produces in response to that movement. It's an ancient way to ensure that your biological shock absorbers are always being replenished. You can easily add a spoonful of high-quality gelatin powder to your morning coffee or tea. It's tasteless and dissolves completely. As we look back at this list, from the golden roots of India to the mossy vines of the Amazon, it becomes clear that the secret to joint health isn't a new discovery, it's a rediscovery. We live in a world that often looks for the quickest fix, the strongest pill, or the most advanced surgery. But your body speaks an older language. It speaks the language of minerals, enzymes, and phytonutrients that have been part of the human story for thousands of years. Rebuilding cartilage and healing stiff joints isn't something that happens overnight. It's the result of small, consistent choices. It's the choice to add a little more turmeric to your soup, to sip on bone broth instead of a sugary soda, and to embrace the weeds like nettle that offer so much more than meets the eye. If you're over 60, remember that your body is not a machine that is simply wearing out. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that is constantly trying to repair itself. By providing these 20 ancient building blocks, you're giving your body the tools it needs to maintain its flexibility, its strength, and its joy for years to come. You have the power to influence how you feel, one bite and one sip at a time. Take this wisdom, listen to your body, and enjoy the journey toward moving with ease once again.